Seek Outside is an American company producing lightweight, versatile tents and titanium stoves. The Big Woods Bucks team and their friends have hunted the Adirondacks with Seek Outside hot tents and have found that it is the best way to get back into the wilderness areas and have a remote hunt. With few roads and hiking trails is the only way to access the extensive backcountry of the Adirondacks, your pack needs to be as light as possible. Seek Outside's lightweight tents and stoves enable you to get back into the most remote country and hunt mature Adirondack bucks that likely have never seen a human being. Use code BWB at checkout on seekoutside.com and get 10% off your Seek Outside gear. Good luck on your remote hunt in the Big Woods.
Welcome to the Adirondack Hunt Podcast, a Big Woods Bucks production. In this podcast, the Big Woods Bucks crew from New York sits down and discusses all things hunting, and even a little fishing, within the blue line. 6 million acres of old-growth forest and few roads make the Adirondacks one of the most challenging places in the country to hunt. From Iroquois and Algonquin deer drives to the early days of Adirondack guiding to tracking with a GoPro, the team discusses the history, legends, and lore of these ancient mountains. Along the way, the team interviews top Adirondack hunters. From well-known legends to little-known local legends, homing in on what it takes to be successful in these unforgiving woods. All right, welcome back to the Adirondack Hunt Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Connor, video guy and Big Woods Bucks CEO.
Yes.
That's what they call me these days. And we have here with us
Mark Scheeren, old team member.
Old, emphasis on old.
Yeah, I'm getting into the senior category. It's
He's still young
me.
at heart. And physically, you're in good shape.
Yeah, I am.
You're in
I'm
good shape.
good. I'm good to go.
Kevin is the young whippersnapper who we have here.
Yep. Young
Say
buck
hi
killer.
to the people.
Young buck killer.
Literally kills young bucks.
Little buck killer.
Yeah. And we have a amazing special guest today. I've been following him for years. I hope he doesn't mind me pumping him up a little bit. I've been following Jason for, I don't know, since I started following Big Woods Bucks, frankly. You've been putting stuff out since, I don't know, 2018? Is that about right? Like
as far as YouTube or as far as
YouTube
like,
and Instagram?
Yeah, and Instagram probably like 2018, but
yeah.
YouTube like 2020.
Yeah, so, I mean, Jason's been putting out some really good stuff, like top quality Big Woods hunting content. And you have, I think I last checked, you have almost 100 videos up on. Am I overestimating that?
Yeah, I think so, but I really have no idea.
Yeah, they're cool. I so enjoyed them that I'm
yeah,
like,
I appreciate that. No, I literally have no idea.
Awesome. Well, we got Jason Bruno here of Ticonderoga. That's your hometown?
Yeah, that's where I live now, yeah.
Hey,
awesome.
Can I just say that we have a wicked storm coming, and if you guys hear the rain in the background, the hissing, we're gonna try and soldier through it. They say there might be tornadoes too, so.
So if the roof flies off and we,
but it might get loud. Is the point?
Yeah.
So
for
try
sure.
try not to get distracted.
Yeah, we're gonna work through it.
We're going to make it through. It's just like good tracking weather.
That's right.
That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, it's good tracking weather. There you go.
So we should probably start. Jason, why don't you just tell us about yourself? Because, tell us what you do and how you got into hunting and all that.
As far as like what I do for a living, I work for myself, mostly interior painting. I do some HVAC work for my buddy sometimes, some installing stuff. And as far as like getting into hunting, my father was a hunter, but I always feel like I would have been a hunter anyways. I remember watching Bambi as a kid, and when I got to the end where that great big buck was there, and I was like, oh man. You know what I mean? I might have only been like 7 or 8 or something. That was before big bucks was a thing, I think. You know what I mean? It's just in my blood.
I think every hunter sees that movie and it's like, wow, I'd like to shoot that deer.
Right, I guess that separates the hunters from the non-hunters. The non-hunters are like, oh my god, I so feel for these deer, and the hunters are like, yeah, I want to kill that.
Yeah, my mother, it didn't work the way my mother thought it was gonna.
Right. Did you grow up in Ticonderoga? Or?
No, I grew up in college town of Potsdam.
Oh, all right.
Like, SUNY Potsdam. Clarkson University, St. Lawrence University is like 10 miles away, and so is SUNY Canton. It's kind of on they call it St. Lawrence River Valley, kind of.
Yeah, sure.
Just outside,
way up there.
Just outside the Adirondack Park. I think I'm over there was like 8 miles as a crow flies from the Adirondack Park. So
yeah, nice. Okay,
short distance.
So your dad was a big woods hunter, or?
He didn't start that way. He was he hunted mostly in the southern tier, and he belonged to a hunting camp up in the Adirondacks that I used to go to him with from starting at the age of 12, and I just liked that better than all the other places we hunted, like farm country or anything else.
Yeah.
There was just something about it, even as a kid. And the camp we had was like 13 miles in.
Wow.
It was just different. So like everything was hunting clubs.
Yeah.
A lot of that currently has been turned over to the state, or it's at least public access land.
Yeah.
Jason, was that paper company at the time?
It was paper company.
Okay.
I believe the lease we had was I think it was IP.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And they owned. I mean, there was just a lot of hunting clubs, and there was a lot of deer. I mean, we had, I don't know if it was 3,200 or 3,600 acres on our lease, and there was like 20 members in the club, and we used to kill 20 plus bucks a year, which is wild.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
wow.
That's
It's unreal.
awesome.
You know,
Had some
up
good
through into
hunters.
the up into the 90s, anyways, before it all turned over to
The state.
the Forever Wild or whatever.
Overth.
Yeah.
Because there was that ended all the logging.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
with all the logging, and then they had a big deal there with stopping the wintertime feeding programs that some of these huge clubs had,
Yeah.
because they said the deer were going to get used to that, and then they wouldn't be able to survive and die, and
Right.
then they died anyways because they quit feeding them.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's,
so
that's pretty effective.
There was a place next to us that had like 26,000 acres, and they had some biologists and stuff because the state used some of their ponds and stuff for trout and whatnot. And I remember the biologists coming over. They used to visit our camp, and I remember them telling us that they were pushing deer off the roads like 200 carcasses. With the
No
snow
kidding.
plows in the spring, because all the deer went there to
yard up.
yard up, and there was no
Right.
food, so they just
Yeah.
stayed there and died.
Wow. Unreal.
So it really put a huge dent in
Yeah.
the deer population.
Yeah,
so.
that
But
takes
anyway,
years
so-
years to fix.
Just curious, what years was that? Do you know?
the year of the quitting of the feeding
Yeah.
thing.
I'm just curious because my dad always tells me that at least around here, 70, 71, and 72.
No, this was in the 90s.
Okay.
I want
Right.
to say like 96, 97 maybe.
Oh wow, so
something
it
like
really
that.
wasn't that long.
Yeah. Yeah.
No.
Okay.
I mean, I don't know as though it was ever. I don't know if it was ever legal. They never bothered anybody with
Right.
wintertime feeding.
Right.
You know what I mean? It was
That's
just
right.
like
It wasn't a thing.
no. There's so this place that they had, they'd been feeding there since I believe the 1930s.
Yep.
Wow.
So you're talking about 60 years of
Major dependence.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
yeah. It'd be like
Whole
the deer
herd was
coming.
dependent on it.
Like you talk about it being yards here, it'd be like all of a sudden decide to take away all their feed or something.
Yeah.
They show up and they're like,
or
oh.
cut down the yards. It's like
Or
we
yeah,
talk
or-
about in
right,
Maine,
or-
like cut down the yards
Yeah,
entirely.
I went to
Right.
Maine there, and I'd love to seen Maine back in the day.
I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
My God, like they must
Rick
have
was saying it was like it is here, I guess, right? Just like old
it would have to
forest
be
and,
like
you know.
but like there had to been nut trees, and
Yeah.
I mean Maine at one time. Like if you go back and look at some old charts, I looked at I don't know, it was from the 80s, and they showed like where most of the Boone and Crockett bucks were shot.
Right.
And Maine was like one of the main hubs for it, along with like Wisconsin and Michigan.
I've seen that. It like ranks up there with like the top states. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is
That's
back
pretty-
in the day before it became.
Right.
I mean, quality deer management's changed a lot of things. Like,
Sure.
if you don't shoot them when they're small, they actually do get bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Surprise.
Yeah.
So how did you get into tracking in particular? Was there anyone
Well,
like inspiration for that?
yeah, for sure. I mean, to start out with, I mean, when there was snow, we'd always just track anyways. But as far as like figuring out a specific buck or anything, no. But before that, I'd snuck up on deer in the snow and killed them.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? But
Still
not
hunting.
hoping they had horns, and if they did, and
Yeah.
shoot one of them. You know,
Right.
but there
Right.
wasn't. And I mean, for the first 10 years of my hunting, I wasn't very picky. You know what I mean? Just shot whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like all the old timers were the same way. You know what I mean? So
Yeah,
if you got
sure.
a big one, that was cool.
Yeah.
The weight thing was always a big deal. Every time somebody would kill a buck at camp,
Yeah.
everybody'd pitch in $1, and
Right.
you'd write down and guess the weight, and whoever was the closest won the money.
Yeah.
Nice.
You
Right.
know what I mean? I mean, it's not huge money or anything, but it was just always a big deal. We always kept a record of all the bucks that were shot and their weights, and the weight was always a big thing, even though we're not in Maine. It was still a thing here, even though it seems to be like more of an Eastern
Yeah.
thing.
For
Sorry,
sure.
I don't know if I got off topic.
No,
there.
No,
This
not
is
at all.
good.
Not
This
at
is
all. This is
good.
great.
It's great.
So was it?
Oh, back to tracking. So,
Yeah.
I was always just like a crazy deer hunter.
Yeah.
Like I was just addicted to deer hunting and all the knowledge you could find, like a deer nerd,
Yeah.
So this is like off the tracking subject, but Charles Alschumer, I don't know if I pronounced that right, he was like a huge influence on just me understanding deer because he did so many studies on it and stuff, you know.
Right.
I read all his stuff, all his books and everything.
Yeah, like like so as far as like I was a deer nerd. I wanted to know all I could about all the stuff and the studies.
Yeah.
But as far as the tracking goes, I mean Lanny Benoit, he taught me the most. But before that, I mean, you know, I got given a VHS tape. My buddy's like, "Hey, you gotta check this out." I never even heard of them, you know. So
Yeah.
which is wild. We're going back a little ways.
Yeah,
VHS,
sure.
you know what I mean? We're
Yeah,
talking
yeah.
like
1990s or?
Yeah, 90s, early
Yeah.
90s. I want to say probably like
Yeah.
90. I don't know. 90.
I know all about VHS tapes. They can tell you I have
95,
5,000 VHS tapes in my
That's-
basement,
dude,
so I
that's
know
so
all about it,
awesome.
including the Benoit tapes.
That's
So,
awesome.
Yeah,
Are you married?
I am. Yeah.
Your wife must
It's in the
love that you have
basement.
all that
Oh,
stuff.
she loves it.
That's perfect.
Thrilled about it.
It's perfect. Yeah, no, I can picture that. Doesn't
Yeah.
take up much room or anything.
I've converted them to digital, by the way.
Oh, that's sick. Yeah. So, anyways, so I'd read their books and watched their movies, and I started tracking on my own, and just from their books and stuff. And I chased a lot of deer around the woods, but never actually
Right.
connected on any like when I was doing that. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Right.
I killed more deer in the snow tracking before I knew about that. When I was just like sneaking up on deer.
That's
Yeah,
that's
right.
so true. That's so true.
You
You,
know what
go
I
through
mean?
that barren time.
Yeah, so I'm
Yeah.
like trying to figure, you know, I'm trying to have a process to it
Yeah,
now, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Where before I was just like, all right, there's some tracks here, and they're going this direction, and I'm just going to
Kill 'em.
walk and see if I can sneak up on them and shoot them, you know what I mean? So
And then you get a little into the method, and you're
Yeah.
like, oh, am I doing it right? And then
Yeah, I
Right.
suck.
So-
and then I suck. It's
so
the next
my-
logical conclusion.
yeah, so
but
my father and I went on a hunt with him. Paid to go on a hunt in New Brunswick.
with Lanny.
Well, no, it was just the
Or-
Benoit tracking school, and he just
Oh,
ended
okay.
up picking myself and my father as the
Oh, cool.
two guys. There was like 6
Yeah.
people that went.
Right.
So he picked the two of us. And I don't know, we just rode around, and he and I got along really well.
You and
Myself and Lanny, yeah.
and Lanny,
So we just
yeah.
got along really well, and
Yeah.
I got close to killing a buck there that I messed up on.
nice.
I don't know. I think I probably told that story on my YouTube channel, but
I think I've seen it. That's all right though. Feel free to tell it again.
yeah. So I mean, I don't know. It's kind of a good story though. So I
Yeah,
tracked some
please.
other bucks, but so the first day we're there, we actually get some snow, and now I understand why he picked the track he picked for me. You know, what I mean, I didn't know
Yeah.
anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I asked a lot of questions, and he was
Yeah.
like super good about answering. So
Right.
oh, you can hear the rain right now.
Yeah, it's coming down again, folks.
So we go out in the morning, and he picks this track for me, you know, and it's with a doe. And my father wants to go with me because he wasn't really keen on the big woods. He was scared of getting lost. You know what I mean? Like he'd like to go with me.
Right.
So we got on this buck, and you know, like you were talking earlier, like going back, like I killed this buck in the first like 400 yards, but instead I pushed him all over the woods all day.
All right.
Yeah.
But so at the end of the day, I end up jumping him off the top of this mountain. I run down the back side of the mountain. He runs down an old skid road. I get down to the bottom, and he's standing there at like, I don't know, 80 yards, 60 yards, something like that. But I can't see his head.
Yeah.
And this is for like 2 minutes. I can see his whole body.
Yeah.
And I didn't pull the trigger.
Right.
And then he ran off. He blew at me and turned and ran. Then I saw a rack, and it was too late. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So it was late in the day. So I ended up getting out to a road, and Lanny told me that. Well, because first of all, I told him I was kind of an outdoorsman. He said a lot of people that weren't really. They just kind of want to go hunt with him. And so he's like, "Listen, I trust you to go. You seem like an outdoorsman, anyways. I'll trust you to like go wherever you go. But every time you cross a road, draw an arrow with your foot in the snow.
Oh, so you think?
So I can drive around all day and see where you're at, and I'll try to keep up with you or whatever, you know what I mean? So, and write a time in the snow if you could.
Right.
Because, I mean, I didn't have, it's too bad I didn't have a camera, you know, there's no cell phones back then, you know
That's
what I
right.
mean?
Yeah,
Like,
right.
That's right.
Not really, so this would have been 2007.
Do you have any pics from that adventure?
No.
No.
No, because I didn't even bring a camera, like, I don't know, I just
Yeah.
went for the adventure, like, it's kind of crazy, I don't have a picture of, like, him and I or nothing, like,
wow.
none of the riding
No
around,
kidding.
like, anyways,
What year was this again?
2007.
Okay. Yep.
So, anyways, I get out to the road, and it's like 3:30 in the afternoon, and of course I'm sweated up all day. You know what I mean? It's cold, so I start a fire in the road because I can't get him on the radio because mountains cause problems.
Right.
So it gets to be after dark. I'm sitting there, got my jacket hung up in a tree, trying to dry it off. But my dad's there with me or whatever, so we're just sitting there hanging out, and finally gets on the radio, and he says, all right, well, where are you? I'm like, I know I've been on this road. Like, I recognize where I'm at. We drove around it, yesterday or whatever. We had one day of scouting. I said we went the first day there was snow, but we drove around the day of scouting, and the second day it snowed, and then we went hunting. So, yeah, he's like, fire a shot in the air. So I'm like, all right, fire a shot in the air. All right, let me get a little closer. I don't know, 15, 20 minutes goes by. He gets back in the radio. He's like, fire another shot. Fire a shot in the air. Of course, it's dark. All you see is flames going out the barrel. You know what I mean? Pitch black, little fire going on. And then, I don't know, 15 minutes later, here he comes rolling down the road in the Suburban that was busted as a Suburban back then.
Yeah, right.
He liked that one. He said it had independent front suspension, so he said it was way better than the old ones he used to drive around.
Right.
And then, while I was there, that was the only time we had snow. So the rest of the time I did some hunting on bare ground, or, he sent me into some areas or whatever, and I went and hunted some bottoms and whatnot. But a lot of it is drove around and looked at tracks, asked them a lot of questions. Yeah. We get to this one spot where there's this bridge out, and we'd been a long ways to get in there to go across, and there was like this four-wheeler trail that goes down in the bottom of the gut and then back up the other side, and I was like, man, I think you could go down through there. He's like, I think that was kind of up his alley anyways, you know what I mean? So he's like, all right, he like a little off-road, and so, yeah, he had to get the chainsaw out and cut a couple trees down, so we fit down through. So we fit down through there, hooked up. We get down to the bottom, and there's a transmission laying down there where somebody tried to bend through there and had to change their transmission out. It's laying in this like brook or whatever at the bottom. Anyways, he winches back out the other side, and I don't know. We just had a good time laughing and having a good time, just like hunting buddies would. You know what I mean? Like anything else. So
that's cool.
He asked me to be his cameraman for the following season for 2008.
Oh, no kidding. Cool.
So I went to
kind of like you and Rick.
Yeah, seriously. So
that's how you learn.
It really is. So did you do a season with him?
I did, but it was the year that I went with them. Their mother passed, so it was like short. I think we were only there like 10 days or something. I was supposed to be there for 3 weeks.
Did you get footage?
Very little.
Did it make the DVDs or anything? Or?
Yeah, my name's on something.
Oh,
so,
cool.
I mean, some of the stuff I got in footage is in there, but we didn't do any tracking that year because there was no snow.
Right.
But the biggest thing he taught me was how to go find big bucks. I mean, we spent 6 straight days from sun up to sundown.
Yeah.
Riding roads. And 2 of the days we rented a boat.
Yeah.
So we'd drive an hour and then get in a boat and get away from people as far as we could. And I asked him a lot of questions, and he taught me a lot of stuff, like stuff I've probably forgotten, at this point. And I never did follow a track on him or with him, so I kind of had to learn that on my own. I kind of understood it. But.
So when the time you spent following tracks, it's funny you say that because Rick has learned, and I mean he's talked about this in his seminars, how he's learned everything about that he knows about following tracks, or at least a lot of it from following Lanny. Frankly, if you talk to him, he'll be like, "Yeah, I used to follow Lanny around like Jackman and just like see what he was doing." Obviously, totally different than the Adirondacks. I mean,
it's way different.
Literally no road. So, how did you take what you learned about tracking from Lanny and apply it to a place where there's just no roads? You can't find tracks that way.
I mean, I just started walking.
Yeah.
Because I was like, if I can't drive it, I got to walk. Like, I got to go find it on foot.
I got to jump in right there, what you said, because so many people make a mountain out of a molehill with this. They want to say, there's got to be a technique, right? And I'm like, no, you just pull over and you walk a lot. You know what I mean? Like, there is no other answer for that question. Yeah. And people get really screwed up. They're like, well, where do you walk? I'm like, I literally just pull over. And if there's snow, I just keep walking. And if I don't find anything, I find my way back to the car. Hopefully I have some time. And I might go to another spot. But usually I just keep walking.
I'm big on topo maps.
Yeah.
Me too.
And I was long before I was a tracker.
Right.
That's
and I
right.
understood my way around the woods with a map and a compass.
Yeah.
There was no GPS.
That's right.
So I conquered my fear of getting lost at a younger age. Once you realize how far you can walk in the woods and how long it takes, I can walk like I can walk a mile in like 20 minutes or something on average, you know what I mean? 20, 25 minutes. And if you can walk 5 or 6 miles, you're probably going to hit something.
That's exactly right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some of these Adirondacks where you get going in the wrong direction, you're going to be in trouble.
Right.
Yeah. But like that's why you should know there's a major road or something that runs somewhere. So whenever I go in somewhere, I'm always making sure that I pick a direction that I know I'm going to hit a road eventually.
So I want to ask you, this is like one of my perennial questions I always ask everybody, but high or low, and what forest composition, hardwood, softwood, swamps, mount, like what do you what's your go-to? Like signposts, or are you looking for scrapes?
Just hunting, or just you're talking about tracking?
I guess first. Well, let's talk about tracking first. Where are you looking to pick up tracks? Like high or low? And for signposts, do you have signposts you go to? Like where? Do you have go-to spots that you go to?
I haven't. I've never used signposts.
Oh no. Yeah.
I haven't. I don't know why. So I found signposts. Like I'm not knocking it. You know what I mean? Like, but I was just in like high traveled areas, pinch points.
Pinch points.
Yeah.
So you're going to pick up tracks and pinch points.
I don't like picking them up there. I like going to where the does are.
Yeah. Just going to the does.
Like once where I've been to somewhere, especially like after you've been somewhere for 2 years, the tracking's just so much better there. When you go, I mean, I've killed some bucks on a day where I just go find a track and go do whatever. But when you kind of know where you're already going and you can get on one, that's the hardest part.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, to start with, the first part is you got to find a track.
Right.
And if you don't find a track, you're gonna be walking around all day. You still haven't lost your day.
Right.
You're gonna go learn this area.
Right,
and if there's anything in there, if it's good, you go back. If it's not, then you scratch it off. Say, I don't need to ever go back here.
And high or low? Do you have any opinion? Because I know I mentioned this on another podcast, but Lanny Benoit in his book talks about you got to go high. You got to go to the top of a 3,000 footer. I've in recent years have been going low.
I like low, except for the fact that you're usually in some terrible shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I find the biggest bucks in the bottom.
Yeah.
So even when there is like higher stuff, I find that when they want to be in that thick stuff, they walk through some wild stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I find that they break does away and purposely, especially the older bucks, when you get in that like old age class.
Yeah.
6+ or 5+.
Yeah.
They separate the doe and push them where they want to go.
That's exactly right.
And they go right down this terrible stuff.
Yeah.
That's exactly right.
But this country I've been hunting recently, since I've been chasing snow, I've been into some higher peak stuff. You know what I mean? Some big mountains.
Like high peaks wilderness, are we talking? Or
some of that. I mean, even stuff. I mean, I don't know how tall. 2,400 square or
2,400 feet. Yeah, it's a good mountain. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So, but some are super steep depending on where you go.
So
I do know. This is what I will tell you. I do know. Like when I'm above a buck, and he's going downhill, he's in deep trouble.
Yes.
Like if I'm above him, I get excited. I'm like, oh man, like it's hard going uphill on him. If you're going uphill, they just got the vantage point, just like you have the vantage point.
In terms of stamina and vantage point.
Yeah,
vantage point mostly. Yeah. Okay.
Have you hunted any of the big high peaks, like the 4,000 footers, 4,500?
I don't go that high.
No.
No, I skip it. I mean, there's so much other woods. Why go up there? I don't. There's just so much woods.
I was just curious.
Yeah, no, I don't. You like wondering if they go up that far?
Yeah, I mean, I've seen I know one guy, Isaacs. He's hunted pretty high on some of that stuff, and he says like there's not many deer. Just wanted to pick your brain on that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think there's a lot of feed when you get up that high. Like it's just like different country.
It's very rocky, but there are definitely big bucks on top of those mountains. I think that I don't think it really matters.
No.
Austin said something. My son said something this year that was kind of funny. We're hunting in a spot, and you might agree with this. We're hunting in a spot that has like 2 ecosystems that are within 3 or 4 miles, but it's just big country. You have a desert, sort of that big, giant climax hardwood desert, right?
Yep.
There's nothing. There's no feed. It's open. The deer can see you from forever. But then you have this giant swamp and some small ponds, great big buck territory. And then you have these big bowls up on top. I call it deery, where there's enough spruce intermixed that the does get comfortable feeding in it. Because they're like, I can be hidden. Or I can feel comfortable being out in the open. I can be hidden. And those bucks will go up. And I said to Austin, where do you want to hunt this year? And he said, does it really matter, Dad? Let's just connect the dots between that ecosystem and that one. And on the first day, he shot a 9-point.
Yeah, so you're talking about like hunting an edge.
Yeah.
Yeah, edges are awesome.
Yeah, and the 2 points in between, even though it was a big bowl of nothing, he shot his buck right in the middle of that, between those 2 swamp and that gnarly shit on top. And he just worked from the top and just walked right down and came face to face with that buck and killed it.
Heck yeah, that's awesome.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I don't know if it really matters. I think it's what you end up preferring. I like being in nasty, it looks like the Hobbit. You know what I mean? Like the
Me
sphagnum
too.
moss, and because I can get real crafty in
It's
there.
quiet too.
Yeah, isn't it the best?
So quiet.
Sometimes it gets eerie kind
It
of
does.
feeling, it's so dark. And,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but I've seen so many big old bucks. But that's the kind of place where you're like, boom, oh, he's 3 yards from you, and then they just disappear. You know what I mean? But you have some of those experiences.
Oh yeah, where you see a flash and never get your gun up.
Yeah,
You're like, oh, that was a nice rack.
That's awesome.
Oh, that was a nice buck. At least I got to see him.
Yeah, that was 5 days of work.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just think the more you go do it, the more you change the way you want to do things.
Yep.
And you pick and choose what tracks you want to take.
Yeah.
And where you want to take them.
Yeah.
And terrain is part of that. So I started tracking in some stuff that was like old cuts. You're talking like 20 years old, and of course all those beach whips grow up, and that's like body armor. You know what I mean? So I missed a lot of bucks. I shot a lot of
whips.
shot a lot of whips, or not even shot at them because they were running through such thick stuff. And sometimes it's so thick you're 30 yards when they get up, and you still can't get a shot at
That's
them.
right.
So, it did make me sneakier. I will say that.
I want to ask you a question about tracks. I don't want to commandeer the whole damn thing, but
No, no.
so, Joe Donito talks about he likes, I call it a cell phone track, right? You have a big square-toed track, and when you find that track and you see the stagger, and it's a big-bodied buck, and at that point I don't care what the rack is, because I know it's probably an 8 or better, or some big gnarly 6 or something, right? That's the obvious track. The less obvious in the Adirondacks, unlike Maine, is you got a small track, but you're getting the feeling, and maybe you see that rack in the snow when he goes down and feeds, and you're like, wow, that's a good rack. But let's say you haven't seen the rack, but it's got a good stagger, but he's not that heavy. He's 140 pounds, right?
Sometimes they don't even have a very big stagger.
That's right. That's right. Do you follow him? Do you follow a track like that?
Yeah, so I changed that in 2017.
This is important.
I came onto this buck track, and of course we talk about weights all the time, in the tracking world or whatever. But the area you're in really determines weights of deer, and it's different all over.
That's right.
So where I'm particularly talking about in the northern Adirondacks is different subspecies of whitetail compared to the southern Adirondacks. So, 170-pound deer there is probably like 140 or 50-pound deer here.
That's right.
Essentially.
That's right.
So there's one. So I will say I wasted a lot of time trying to find 200-pound deer, and there's not that many. So
yes,
we'll get onto that. We'll get onto that in a minute.
Yeah,
but
sure.
So this particular buck, I'm like, well, there's nothing else going on. I'm gonna follow this buck. It's not really what I'm after. I want to kill a 200-pound buck, and just not that great, big, wide-chested, whatever. But I'm gonna follow him. So I start following him. He sticks his rack in the snow, and he's like 18 inches wide from where I can see his beams went in the snow. He's got both prints, and he was so tall. It was the only deer I've ever seen like this. He was so tall, he scuffed the snow up way in front of the...
Yeah. Yes.
And I was like, oh, my... What a monster, you know what I mean? So I followed him all day, and then I started paying more attention to how they walked.
Yep.
So now I don't even pick them by... I don't look at stagger, I don't look at any of that. I like a flat-footed buck. And when I say flat-footed, I mean walks on its pads.
Yeah.
More.
Yeah, he's gotten lazy.
Heavy on his pads.
Yeah.
I don't care about the dew claws, none of that. Just literally and it's such a small difference
Yes.
from
This is good.
being
Yeah.
pitched forward
Yes.
and being super flat. It is a very small difference. It's something you'd have to go do to understand what it means.
It's the difference between, I call it tiptoeing and walking. He walks with a purpose because he's lived long enough that he does not give a shit. That's, in my mind, that's how I conceptualize it. I'm like, he may not have that big body,
Yeah.
but to him, he's got weight. Even though he's a 145-pound buck, it's the biggest he's going to get, right?
Yeah.
But they do get lazy, I think. I think they're just like us. Middle age, you're like, I just want to sit in the recliner a little bit.
More reliant
I
on your
just think
smarts than your physique.
A lot of it, I think, is their tendons and stuff stretch because they're older. They're just getting older. So I think it's more of that than it is. They kind of sag back a little bit, just like their bellies sag, their backs back. The back sags. Everything's just kind of sagging. So that's what I'm looking for. And the size of the track I've found, at least here, doesn't determine much of anything. The biggest buck that I killed here, he had this unbelievably tiny track, unbelievably tiny. I couldn't even believe how small his feet were.
Yes.
I'm like, that doesn't even make sense.
Yeah.
And the only reason I knew he was as heavy as he was is he was walking down an old logging road, and it was made out of like a gravel road, and he was sinking in. I'm like, oh my, I think it's super heavy. You know what I mean? And I ended up killing him like, I don't know, 4 days later or something like that. But
Did you follow him long? You had to track him?
I shot him on bare ground.
Oh, did you?
So this area, this is the other thing about tracking is you learn. Did I get off topic?
No, you're good.
This is
Actually,
good.
this is a good segue. So finish that story. I got another question for you.
All right. So, the thing about tracking is like, it's like hiring a tour guide. So you get on this buck and he takes you all over. Well, this one particular spot, it didn't matter if there was, I could be 4 or 5 miles away. All the bucks seemed to want to come down this one bottom there because they were coming to check does. It didn't matter where they were coming. They were coming here to check the does here.
Yeah.
That's right.
So I was familiar with it. Super thick, like you're talking about, like, you got to be a hobbit to walk down through there. You know what I mean? But it's good. I'm only 5'8", so like I have that advantage over some tall people. They're getting hit with branches. I'm just like ducking under that stuff.
Right.
And I'm looking at Kevin next to me, and he's smirking right now. He's like, I know it's up. I know it's up.
Weapon,
It is a secret weapon. So I'd been in there and I knew the area very well because I'd followed so many deer through there, and he was in there chasing does. I'd seen his track running across the gravel road, and
so you got in there?
I just went in there and started still hunting and walking along. It was one of those mornings. It's 10, 12 degrees. Nice. Super crunchy.
Yeah.
On the edge, like you were talking about earlier, right where the edge of the hardwoods meets this cedar bottom, and the cedar bottom run like 3/4 or a mile long. Yeah. And I just got on the edge of it, started poking along, grunting, walking, just listening. And then all of a sudden I can hear this deer walking. I'm like, I don't know it's him. You know what I mean? So I can hear this deer walking, and he's like walking kind of like away from me. So I started like walking at an angle at the same time he's walking. I just kept walking and walking. He'd walk and walking. So I know at one point I'd stood there for like a long time, like 10 or 15 minutes. I hadn't heard anything. I'm like, I know he's there. Like I'd hear him. Yeah. There's no question. I'd hear him if he'd have moved.
Yeah, he was clocking you. He was trying.
How far away do you think he was the whole time?
I mean, I think he probably started at like 80 yards or something like that.
Oh,
but
wow.
I ended up shooting him at like 40.
Oh, wow.
Or 50 yards. Yeah. And he came out right on the edge of this where it met the hardwoods. Yeah. And he was making a scrape, and I ducked down to look under a bunch of stuff, and that's when I shot him. I shot him while he was hitting the licking branch.
Nice.
That was the first shot, then he ran. And
how big was that one, Jason?
He weighed 218.
That's a giant.
That's a big
that's
deer.
A giant,
that's like a buck of a lifetime as far as weight goes, I think. And I probably never kill another buck that heavy ever.
You'd be hard-pressed to do it.
I followed some around, and I've tried on them. You know what I mean? Like, previous to, like we're talking about in like 2017, when I started changing the way I did things or learned things, we learned that we wanted to follow, big wide bucks, big wide tracks, or big stagger or whatever. I just changed the way I was doing things. So I was like, man, these deer that seem to be in, and he didn't have a huge rack, the one that was like 218. I mean, he might score 100 inches or something. I've actually never scored any of his stuff, but
no kidding.
Sounds like Maine.
Yeah, he was like 7.5 years old. I mean, maybe 110. I don't really know. I'm not great at that. So he was. It was 10 point. I mean, a nice buck.
Yep.
But that's when I started learning that like the bucks and where I was from, in that like 170 to 190 pound range, had the biggest racks.
Yep.
And the ones that were over that were like big heavy deer, most of the time they didn't have a huge rack on
That's
them.
real common in Maine and northern New Hampshire and stuff. They got those little tight racked, but their bodies are just massive. Yep. Same subspecies that comes down in the north of New York.
Yeah. Same kind of deal.
High Peaks. That would have been High Peaks area, or
no?
Wow, then that's
Upper
real
Tupper.
rare.
Upper Tupper.
That's right. That's where
That's where they all are. That's where everything is here.
Joe Donato shoots all his
Upper
there.
Tupper.
He does.
Yeah, that's right.
NASA, it's all of them.
That's right. So let me ask
Right
you,
in the
Jason.
center of Tupper Lake.
That's right, Tupper Lake. Exactly.
In a boat.
Out of a boat.
They're swimming. No, that is a huge deer.
That's unreal.
Like, you think about that. That's huge.
No, I mean anything that breaks 200 is like one out of 100 bucks. What do you see around here, Kevin? 1 out of 100 maybe gets over 200.
I would say. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, and we're known for big crack bucks here in Upper Tupper.
No, I agree, and I've heard that for years.
Yeah.
About the difference. Look at the subspecies. You guys have huge racks though.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing.
Yep.
So let me ask you, Jason, over the years, how many bucks have you taken still hunting versus tracking, or sitting for that matter? Because one thing that I can tell you that I've noticed is that a lot of Maine hardcore trackers won't even hunt.
If there's not snow.
If there's not snow.
I don't know. I've shot a lot in all different ways.
I find that just Adirondack hunters who kill giant bucks and stay after giant bucks kill most of them still hunting, which is a big difference.
I'd rather still hunt.
Would you? Really? Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather track, don't get me wrong, but there's not always guaranteed snow. But my point is, I'd rather go still hunt than go sit on a spot depending on the time of year.
Right.
This is the thing, like, if you don't care about killing a big buck or sorting out a big buck and you just want to go kill a buck,
Right.
that's different than what I'm talking about, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I think sitting, if you just want to go kill a deer and you're a semi-novice hunter, I think sitting is probably the easiest way to do it.
Right.
Because you're sitting, waiting, looking for movement, you know, the other way around, like, go do what you want to do, you know what I mean? But, like, sitting is a very useful thing if you can do it.
If you have the
killed many?
patience.
Yeah, if you have the patience,
Especially
right,
when you're talking about, like, November 7th to, like, the 12th.
Right.
Like, there's a ton of daytime movement, ton of bucks moving. I'm not going to, this is the thing, like, you're not going to guarantee that you're going to kill a big buck, but if you went and sat on a funnel for those days that you know, like probably one of these places you're talking about that have like signposts or something, because essentially what it is like, in my opinion, for the Adirondacks, is like all those deer just, because the bucks are out moving, they're out looking for does, and that's the easiest path for them to go through, so they neck in there.
Right.
And if you can get in there, and if you can go in there and sit, if you could sit for 5 days straight, you're going to kill a buck.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Or get a shot at one.
I've been saying that this year. There's this one camera I was running this year that is on a big scrape line, and it's a super pinch. I'm going to put a tree stand there this year.
Where is that,
sit
Kevin?
there. I'll give you the coordinates.
Thanks, man.
But I was telling myself, checking that camera, like if you were here between these days, right, and you sat this 5-6 day window, whatever it is, you would shoot a decent buck. Like there's just no doubt about it. There was a buck going past that scrape every day for that week, so that's definitely accurate what you're saying for sure.
Yeah, and you find those places by tracking.
Absolutely.
So that's how I found these places that I'm speaking of. Like if you don't, you got to hire a tour guide. You just got to go out there. You got to go out there and get yourself a local tour guide. He'll take you around, show you where all the doe spots are and some other bucks. And
I like
sometimes it doesn't even have to be a big one. You know what I mean? You just go. A lot of times I'll start on a smaller buck just to go. All right, well, I'm gonna go see where he takes me.
Yeah.
I do that almost every day tracking. I end up starting on a small deer, small buck.
Yeah.
You know,
So
for whatever reason.
Yep.
So your bare ground tactics, though, to get back to that for a minute, and those of you who listen to the podcast will know that here at Big Woods Bucks in the off season, we're big into brookie fishing. If you're going to be brookie fishing in the Adirondacks, there's only one way to do it right, and that's with a lightweight canoe. Our friends at the Adirondack Canoe Company are making traditional lightweight pack canoes. Adirondack Canoe Company's canoes are the finest made canoes in the Adirondacks, the Northeast, or the country for that matter. When I go brookie fishing, I bring the Adirondack Canoe Company's Haystack canoe. The Haystack is based on the John Henry Rushton-designed Wee Lassie, which has proved to be a worthy haul over the last 150 years. Worked into the Adirondack culture of brookie fishing, this canoe is a fantastic fishing platform and light enough to carry wherever you go. So if you're in the market for a lightweight canoe, go to the Adirondack Canoe Company and check out their stuff. We'll see you out on the brookie ponds.
Hi everyone, team member Mark Scheeren here. Some of you might not know that my day job is coaching people on how to move past addictions. I've been doing this for more than 34 years now, and I absolutely love providing the most effective method for moving past addiction in the world. It's called the Solution to Addiction Workshop and the Solution to Addiction Coaching. Both of these life-changing programs are presented by me and my team here at the Freedom Model. If you're someone who wants to be free from an addiction, but you don't want to go to daily support meetings, rehabs, or be on replacement medications for the rest of your life, give us a call at 888-424-2626. Or you can go to www.thefreedommodel.org. Your first 30-minute consultation is free. Here's that number again, 888-424-2626. I look forward to helping you. Take care.
Hey, Hal here. Just wanted to tell you we're excited about our partnership with Minus 33. Minus 33 specializes in merino wool base layers for outdoor enthusiasts, from tops and bottoms to hats, socks, gloves. And our gear is going to keep you warm and comfortable no matter what adventure you're on, especially those big woods ones. We're a fifth-generation family, owned and operated, a New Hampshire woolen textile manufacturer. They have over 106 years of woolen expertise, and they started manufacturing woolen socks, the Mountain Heritage ones, in New Hampshire in 2018, with the idea that a quality product, affordable pricing, and can be worn and loved from season to season, no matter what your experience level or skill is, so that no one should feel uncomfortable or ill-prepared in the outdoor community. Having a reliable gear is one of the first steps towards a lifetime of passion or whatever activity it is. And my caveat to that is you got to wear your woolies. Cotton is death.
I got to shout out whoever asked. Hang on one sec. I'm shouting out you, Scott Scumbody. Bare ground tactics, finding new ground. So for your bare ground tactics, I remember one year, I think it was 2020 when we had like no snow.
It was.
And I was following you, Jason, on Instagram, and you were like, God damn, I gotta sit again. And I was like, oh, that's funny because I mean, if it's bare ground, are you moving or are you generally just sitting on the pinch points you like? Like, what's your go-to bare ground?
I sit until I can't sit anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
So you sit on bare ground.
Yeah, but I don't have like a set spot. I go in the woods and I go fight. I fight.
I fight
a
myself.
fight.
Yeah, I start.
Freudian slip. You're like,
I have this mental battle with myself about what I'm supposed to be doing. Right?
I duke it out with myself. I hit myself in the face.
Speaking of
to
which,
stay
that's
awake.
one of the greatest things that Hal Blood said. I don't know where he got it from. He come up with the analysis paralysis just kills me because I was like, it's such a true thing. You know, I never met the man, but it does. We overthink stuff too much. But yeah, bare ground depends on the time of year.
Yeah.
Like when you're talking about early time of year, it's hard to beat scrape lines.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're gonna go, and I've shot a lot of deer. Like I said, I'm still hunting. But when I get to a spot where there's hot deer sign, sometimes it's only good for a day or two.
I know. Yeah.
So if it's hot, sit down and sometimes you kill a buck like that. You know what I mean? So,
And are you like Eddie, who will sit dawn to dusk kind of thing? Eddie's.
I am not.
Here still. No.
I'm not. I have done that. I went to Kansas hunting with some guys and it was painful.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like I was
That's
just
a
like
rare thing,
they wanted to go. There was a bunch of land there too, and I was like, can I just like go?
Still hunt.
Yeah, I was like, can I just like go like hang my own stand or do whatever?
Sneak
you know what
around.
I mean? Like, can I just go sneak around? They're like, no, you can't you'll push the deer on other people's properties or whatever. And I'm like, all right.
Oh, that's like Mark's story out west.
I did the same thing in Montana 2 years in a row, and I was like, I got to the last day. I said, dude, I'm walking. I came all the way here on a plane, dude. I am walking, and they laughed at me. And then I shot the first 10-pointer in its bed with a bow, right?
That's sick.
Yeah, but I'm the worst bow hunter you've ever met, man. I suck at it. But it was so easy there because I could see the deer.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So they're like, how did you do that? I'm like, I saw the deer. Like,
right.
You know, we don't see the deer. We don't. It's so different. And the next year I went back and it was the same thing. You got to stay in the tree. I'm like, dude, if I have to sit in a tree one more day, just.
I was at least on the ground in a ground blanket. It was so cold. I was in there doing jumping jacks. I had everything I owned on. You know what I mean?
It was the worst.
I mean, I did kill a nice buck, like, I don't know, 4th or 5th day or something. But
oh, that's awesome.
Rick does that too. He goes to the Midwest and he's like
Sneaks everywhere.
sits for a day, and then he's like, I gotta still hunt.
And then he shoots a giant.
And I called him in from a long ways, which was cool.
That is cool.
I just knew he was a buck. He was way out. Just because he had his nose around, I was watching binoculars. Of course, it lightens things up in the morning, you know.
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. He's like 500 yards away on this big hillside. You can see forever out there, you know.
For sure.
Got out the bleak can.
Nice.
I ended up getting him to come in close enough. I killed him. So, anyways,
nice. So the second
back to the bare ground thing. I wouldn't be as good a bare ground hunter if I wasn't a tracker.
Yeah.
That's what it comes down to. So I use the same techniques. Like after you do it, you just know where the deer walk.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? Like you go out there and I walk the mountains just like I would if I'm going tracking. And after a while, I mean, and once you get to learn to see tracks, you can see it you can see a set of tracks going through the leaves.
Yes.
It's that because that's like how subtle it is, you know. So
right.
Actually, the video I was working on yesterday for YouTube, last year I went up with one of my buddies and we went hunting and that's how I found some deer that day. I jumped a small buck and I got some video of them and stuff. And
nice.
So that's how I found them. I was just following the deer sign.
So that's the second part of that question from Mr. I'm sorry, I forget your name. Anyway, but we shouted you out. It's finding new ground. So are you going to the same spots year after year after year, or have you had to find new spots based on?
I'm always finding new ground.
Are you? Yeah. Are you? And then
do I go back to places? Oh, yes.
Do you?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, but the thing is about the Adirondacks, and this is different than there's no farm fields. It changes every year.
Yeah.
So like where the feed is changes every year. It's never the same. So by the time you have it figured out one year, if you're thinking like, oh, I got it figured out for next year,
You don't.
you're probably going to be wrong. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, because occasionally you'll get a couple years that it's the same, but it changes all the time. So picking one stand or something to put somewhere would be difficult, because it does change all the time.
Would you say though that there's a cycle of like every 3 to 4 years where if you have a beech nut year, you go back to that one spot that you always know
100%.
does, right?
100%.
Right. But 2 years you're not going to have beech nuts there, and those does could be 5 miles
That's correct.
over here.
Yeah.
But then you figure that out, right? And then you figure out another spot. I think for me that's what I was lucky enough where I hunted one area that was probably on a road 15 miles. And I just kept going in and missing. I missed like 12 bucks. I had the wrong gun for me. I was all caught up in social media, screwed with my head. And I had the wrong equipment. It just wasn't my style. But I had to learn that. I had to learn who I was in the big woods. But in that process, it got to the point to where I almost feel like I can go anywhere in the Adirondacks. Maybe not the high peaks, because that's really different. The real high peaks. But I feel like I can put the pieces together very quickly. Within a mile or two, I'm like, oh, that's a good spot. That's good. Oh, there are beech nuts over here. There's no beech nuts this year. Why don't I go low?
Right.
And don't you feel like that happen? It clicks?
No, you just know.
Yeah.
After a while, you just know. And
how long would you say it took you to just know?
Which, by the way,
Where it started clicking automatic.
just know where they were.
Yeah,
shout out to Nate Krause. What was your light bulb moment for getting bucks in the Adirondacks? There you go. Nate Krause has that same question. Light bulb moment for where you're going to go, what you're going to do.
I'm trying to think of what year I know. I don't know. I don't even know. I don't know.
Try to think.
I'm going to have to think about that.
I'll tell you, maybe this will stir something up, but in my limited experience, I started hunting in 2018, shot a buck. I have a spot, Kevin can tell you, that 50% of the, no joke, 50% of the time I go there, I see deer. I went there opening day, and I saw 5 does, and I walked up within 30 yards of them.
Yep.
I've hunted there probably 20 days. I've only seen 2 bucks over the years, didn't have shots at them. Beech nut, it's full of beech trees, but beech nuts or not, they're always there. It's the strangest thing.
But I think there's a point in everyone's hunting, like, life, I guess you could call it, that everything just starts clicking, and it's like every year you're just bang, you're shooting a buck.
Yeah, I guess I can't pick, I guess my best way to answer that is I don't have like one light bulb moment. I have like a lot of them over a lot of years.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like I don't have like one moment where I was like, oh, I get it. I just feel like I feel like I still have light bulb moments.
Yeah.
I definitely
legit.
do.
Yeah.
But do you think that there was a time where there was maybe not a year, but like an era where you said, where you didn't have as much anxiety going into the woods? Did you ever have that? Like
my 30s was my peak.
Yeah.
I just had the most stamina. I was in really good shape.
Yeah.
I had the most drive.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, like in my 30s. I'm 47, by the way, now.
So how did your hunting change with age? Because mine has definitely changed, and I'm more successful now than I ever have been, even though I'm not physically as good.
I started being more selective about like where I was going to go hunt based on terrain.
Right.
Okay.
That's probably the biggest thing. The other thing that I strictly like to do if I know where there's doe yards,
Yeah.
that's where I'm going.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's where I want to go
Right.
find a track in the morning.
Yep.
Right.
I like hunting. They are hard to hunt with a doe, but I know I'm going to catch them.
Right. Right.
I've killed a lot of, I've killed most of them, I think, are with a doe. I haven't killed
No kidding.
most of the ones that have been alone. They've always outsmarted me.
No kidding. Yeah.
I shot one that weighed 183 that jumped up and stood in his bed, and I shot him. But that was like,
Yeah.
and I wasn't even on him very long. It was like one of those ones
Yeah.
that I was like, it's not even a great story.
Yeah. Right.
You know what I mean? Like I came on this track, and I was like, oh, it's a pretty good buck. And I walked like 15 minutes later, he jumped up out of his, like jumped up,
Right.
didn't know it heard something, didn't know it was jumped up and stood there, and I shot him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's wild.
Those are those gimme days. But
yeah,
but,
that's the
but,
only one I can think of like that. But like all the ones that like you're talking about missing them, I have way more. I missed the biggest buck of my life 2 years ago, and I knew he was a good one too. That's the worst part is it was one of those killing days. I knew it was a killing day. Flat footer. I knew he was. I just knew what he was. Like you talk about it, but after you follow enough deer around, like I follow him. If I'm in the first 100 or 200 yards, I know whether there's something I want to kill or not. And some of them I can just look at them like, oh, that's the one.
yeah.
It doesn't matter about the stagger. It's just the way they walk and carry themselves through the woods.
Did you get a shot at him or?
Oh yeah, shot him 4 times.
Oh, really?
Oh boy.
Nothing.
What
no
happened?
connection?
I missed him.
Yeah.
Actually, I grazed him, but the first time I jumped him, you know, that's the thing. They always put themselves in safety behind the doe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, anyways, he ended up out in this fly. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So he ended up out on the edge of this fly. So I jumped this buck on the edge of this fly, and I get out there and I just get out. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going out to the middle of this thing because I can see, and I'm gonna see if I can see him. So I just started walking down the middle of it, and all of a sudden here he comes running across, but he's a long ways away, like 180 yards. I shot at him 3 times running.
So you probably saw his rack real good coming across that fly, right?
Yeah, but not as good as I saw it on the last shot. So the last,
Oh boy.
so and then I knew what he was. I was just like, oh my god. So, and I can't find. Of course, I'm trying to find a tree I can rest on because I know he's gonna cross this river or stream or whatever. So he goes into the stream. I'm like, I know I'm gonna get one more shot on him before he hits the woods on the other side. I try to kneel down. The grass is too tall. I can't see. So I'm like, I just take the best steady shot I can. As soon as he crosses the stream, he gets out and he's kind of like quartered away a little bit, and turns his head and is just standing there like a statue.
Oh.
So I'm like, and I had enough time to like breathe and squeeze the trigger, but he was just an absolute slob. Like, you know what I mean?
I love hunting around flies. Like
I do too.
Brian can tell you, I kind of turned him onto that, but that's my favorite place
Mine
to
too.
hunt. It just seems
Mine
like
too.
there's huge bucks around those
Always.
flies
Always.
for whatever reason.
And in my head, I thought I killed him because he flinched. So I did wing him a little bit, but not enough to knock some arrow.
What do you shoot? What gun?
Then I was shooting 760 and a 0.6.
Yeah.
He's got the best gun now.
Yeah.
Bar.
Yeah. So I had that gun. This is the thing about it. It's the best shooting gun I've ever owned.
Yeah.
For me.
Yeah.
Super fast. But the 760 or 7600, I love the way it carries.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know.
You know what I mean? So like I made a scope change last year, and now that bar carries a lot better, and I'm just more consistent with shooting it. So
What do you got for optics on that?
I got a 1.5 by 5 loophole Twilight Hunter, they call it, the red
All right.
dot.
Yeah.
Nice.
The red dot makes such a difference.
Oh, it's so
Yeah.
fast.
Oh my God.
So fast. So I shot a buck tracking with it before. I had a 3-9 on it, but it just was like too much power.
Yep.
Yeah. So I missed 6. I missed 6 opportunities in 2019, which was like that's a lot of opportunities in like 12 days.
Yeah.
That-
And like all good bucks, like all over 170 pounds. You know what I mean? Like some nice bucks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Shot at 3 of them and missed them.
Yeah.
2 of them and never got my gun up.
Yeah.
And then the other one was running around. There was like 3 or 4 does, and I couldn't tell which one was him. He was chasing him around. I had him at like 30 yards.
Oh, jeez.
And then I get back on him. I go down there, and these does take off, and I'm paying attention to what they're doing. I stand there for like 15 minutes or something. I'm like just standing there, nothing. I'm like, I take one step, and he blows, and I turn there. He was standing there like to my left at like 50 yards with the other doe he was with.
Figures.
I never
Right.
caught him for the rest of the day,
Oh,
but
that's brutal.
yeah,
So-
but I mean, I hunted 12 days and had 6 opportunities at like, I
Yeah.
mean, wall hangers essentially for most people, you know.
So that was 12 days you hunted that year?
Yeah, 12 days
and
straight.
Did you save up for the snow days, or are you hunting bare ground, or?
No, I mean in the snow. I hunted 12 days in the snow that year.
Oh, okay.
Which is insane.
How many days do you typically hunt? Like out of our 7-week season in the Adirondacks, how many days do you typically hunt?
Like last year, I probably hunted 7 or 8 days, maybe.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay. Do you hunt the early muzzleloader at all, or the late out in the eastern Adirondacks?
Yeah,
or-
no, I shot a doe during. I was just talking about in the Adirondacks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right,
So,
right,
but
no,
like
no.
I shot a doe. I don't like shooting does.
Yeah.
And I don't think we should shoot does in the Adirondacks personally. So
Right.
I don't. I shoot them outside of it. So I
Yeah.
shot a doe for meat during muzzleloader.
Yeah.
Where I know I can go kill. There's a bunch of
Like
deer.
on the
outskirts.
around-
Yeah, the outskirts
Okay.
of
Right.
the outskirts of the Adirondacks.
Like the lower lands.
Yeah, lowlands.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, probably the same thing as like here where you get out south. You know.
That's exactly
Yeah.
right.
Populations.
Yeah, there's just a higher
Doe
population. I don't mind
population's
shooting a
huge
doe there.
here.
Like
Yeah.
we should have way more deer here. The fact that we don't is just
Yeah.
mismanagement.
Yeah.
100%, in my
I mean,
opinion.
It's just climax forest. It's hard for them to.
No, they just don't want deer here.
Yeah.
That's my opinion. I just don't think they do. There used to be a lot more deer. I mean, this place held a lot of deer. One deer per square mile. You're telling me that's...
No, it sounds like it. I mean,
You know what I mean?
I
So-
can only imagine. Yeah.
No, I mean, they started handing out doe permits. That was kind of the end of it.
Oh, really?
I mean,
So
when that
you think a big, like, mismanagement is the doe permits?
Yeah, I mean, I remember a
Yeah.
time when there was a lot of deer, but, the car vehicle accidents were crazy. They were, like,
Yeah.
every day.
Yeah.
And then they started handing out doe permits.
Right.
And the thing is, like, you're saying, like, oh, we're only shooting these deer outside the Adirondack. Well, they leave the Adirondack Park for wintering.
Yeah.
And you got this
right.
late season.
Right.
You know what I mean? It goes till the middle of December, so a lot of deer got killed during that for sure. A lot of the mountain bucks they do migrate out to the farm fields.
Oh yeah, they do.
Yeah.
Right. Especially around you, I guess, in the Champlain Valley area.
Yeah, for sure there and where I'm from.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, I mean I just think we should have more deer. I don't think they accounted well for Mother Nature.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get one. I know in 2013 we lost probably half the deer herd we had in the northern part of the state.
Right.
That's when we had.
That was the massive sno, and they all.
No, that was the negative temps we had I think there was only 4 days in February that were above zero.
Yeah.
It was like 2 months of zero.
Yeah, it was awful.
I remember thinking, coming out of work every day out of my office, how is anything living in this?
Yeah.
Like they're out in this. I'm going into a heated office. I remember thinking that like after like 2 weeks, and then just like third week, fourth week, and there were deer bodies everywhere that spring.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whole groups. You go in an acre, there'd be 30 dead bodies.
Was that when they all yarded up in Benson early? Eddie's nodding. Yeah, when they all.
Yeah,
when they went when they went to the early muzzleloader because they were stacked up in the yards and people were going in and shooting them.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. That was in the
Yeah, they killed over 100.
Yeah.
Over 100 deer the
It's
last week of the
insane.
season.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was like just down the road from here. Yeah.
That's crazy. Yeah, so that's when that happens, that's
mismanagement.
That's mismanagement to a T. Yeah.
It is too. It's just 100% mismanagement, and they.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about shooting. So this is like a good fact about. So a doe, when she has fawns, 2 out of 3 fawns that are born are bucks. That's a scientific, like, studied fact. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
To make up for the mortality rate.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you're talking about just shooting does, you know what I mean? Like, you're killing all your bucks too. So
It's funny though. Around here, I've been hunting the Adirondacks 5 or 6 years now. I feel like based on what I've seen, I've probably seen 40 does over the years in the woods and maybe 10 bucks. And I hear that from other people too, that it's like a more than 2-to-1 ratio of does to bucks.
But here, think about this
I don't
though.
know.
I think that's because is that regionally here? in
That's
this
what I was
area?
just going to say, Brian.
Yeah, like
I
right
think
around
that's regionally here because
Upper Tupper.
Yeah.
I think that's here though.
Yeah, because
Is it?
last year
Yeah.
I hunted. I never saw a doe.
Yeah.
Really?
I shot at
'Cause
2 bucks.
I've been hunting-
Killed one.
Yeah.
I've been hunting a little more north of here, like I told Mark, and it's a total different thing.
No
now
kidding.
that one ridge I hunt that this buck came from.
Yep.
I hunted that ridge one day one time
Yeah.
and saw 16 does on
That's
it.
what it's like. I can go out and see does
And
all day.
no
and-
bucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
weirdest
spot
thing.
needs a doe taken from it.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah.
and like you were talking, like, it depends on the time of year. So
Yeah, there was
if
acorns
you're
there.
gonna
blah,
shoot
blah, blah.
if you're gonna shoot does, you should be doing it. It should be like only early season because they haven't
Mhm.
migrated yet. You're not killing does from 30 miles away.
Absolutely.
Well, then, yeah, and I mean, I've read too, and they yard up all over here, and like they got a feeder down there, bird feeder, but it'll be full of 20 does, and they got these massive like matriarch does that are like beating up, like literally punching the other does in the face to like get them off
Of
the feeder.
course, of course.
And I just watch them just fighting everything
like
off, and
a
they're like
12-and-a-half-year-old
giant does, and I'm
doe,
like,
yeah.
how is like a young buck supposed to compete?
Yeah.
Most
So I
people
might
don't.
shoot a doe.
Most
Eddie, you
people,
shot a doe around here recently, right?
remember,
Never mind.
listeners
We're
can't
cutting
hear.
this out.
Listeners can't hear him anyway.
That's
His
true.
answer.
That's true.
I think that killing does doesn't make any sense at all in the Adirondack Park. I just don't. I just don't see any reason to do it at all, and that's my opinion. Because when you go to places where there's not a lot of hunting pressure late season, you guys have a lot of hunting pressure late season.
Yep.
You're killing a lot of young bucks, and that's just a fact.
Yeah, Kevin.
You know. No, but that's it is what it is.
No, it's
Kevin.
everywhere around here.
Well, there's like cotton
That's
candy
exactly
in the
what
frying
it's
pan, though.
and if you kill what produces the bucks,
That's
to your
true.
point,
No,
you know,
you're absolutely
Yep.
right.
yeah.
Yeah,
So-
no, I think that's one of the biggest.
No, it's a massacre
So,
here the last weekend of the season.
What
It's
I
a
was going to say,
massacre.
Brian, though, is the way we have the amount of does around here, I think that's the only reason we still have bucks here, to be honest, because the amount of hunting
Yeah.
pressure here, right?
Yeah,
We have so many does here
right.
that can bring that 2 out of 3
Right,
bucks.
and
you know what
sustain
I mean?
that,
And
like,
sustain
heavy
that
harvest.
of
Yeah.
these guys doing drives, 20 guys,
I think you're
shooting
probably
15
right.
bucks a year out of each camp.
Yeah, you go
know?
around, you see the meat poles, they're full of, and that's just what's on the meat poles.
Yeah, and if you have that many does, they just keep.
They just keep reproducing.
Yeah.
And if you're
right.
shooting year-and-a-half-year-old bucks,
Yeah.
it's not.
Right. Because
Yeah.
Mark was saying earlier, he's like, I don't
Mm.
know how this area's not shot off, and I think that's why. I think
Yeah.
that's part of it anyway.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
No, it's
And-
got to be a huge thing.
In the deer yards here. We
Without
got
the
good
mother,
deer
there is no
yards.
other, right? I mean,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So true.
All right. Any other comments?
We got to talk about lake trout fishing. So you go out. Are you mainly jigging, ice fishing? Or are you?
I like jig. No, I mean
Yeah.
I do some steel lining for lake trout too. But my favorite
Yeah.
thing recently is jigging for lake
jigging,
trout.
jigging on ice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do you
with-
go out on
with
the boat and jig
sonar.
at all?
Yeah, I
or-
do.
you?
Sonar, like
Yeah.
you get on a flat day
Nice. Yeah.
where you can like still see your. It's like playing a video game and catching fish at the same time.
Are you going to Lake George mostly, or?
I mean, all over, but yeah, I like Lake George just because I live right there.
Okay. Your biggest in the last few years?
A couple of 29 or 29 and a halves.
Nice. Yeah.
They're fat. I don't know, 10, 11 pounds.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, good deal. I watch a lot of your lake trout content, like I was telling you.
Yeah.
I like your deer content, but
Yeah, I like lake
The
trout
Laker
fishing.
stuff is
So
fun.
lake trout fishing is just like deer hunting. They
Yeah.
follow funnels the same way. They follow the bottom, so the terrain's the same.
nice.
So I go find pinch points, and that's where I set up.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? I'm
love
like,
it.
It's
sit
like-
there and wait for him to swim by and want to chase my bait.
That's awesome.
He's in there with
yeah.
a spear underwater.
yeah.
I mean,
I'm
we're in
tracking
like,
them.
I'm tracking
I'm in
today.
like 60 to 80 feet of water. So there's no
Yeah.
spears involved. Yeah, no, I'm tracking them down.
Nice. That's great.
I'm after this 11-year-old lake trout.
I got him
I've got him on
I got him on
camera.
cam. Yeah.
That's right. Well, that's a thing now. I don't know. I see. I can't even
People
get into
target
it.
lake trout, really?
No, I'm
Really?
talking about that whole like live
Live
view,
scope thing?
live
Yeah.
scope thing. I'm like, that's just too much for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel like it takes all the skill out of it.
You know, that's what I like
yeah.
about and that's what I like about hunting in the Adirondacks. I think it's some of the purest hunting you can find in the nation.
I think
Yeah,
so too.
totally.
It's the best.
Oh, have you done a remote hunt ever? Have you hunted out of a wall tent?
I have
or, No. Okay. Is that something you want to get
Yep.
into? I'm
Yeah, I would do
curious.
that.
Yeah.
I would do that. I'd like to do more hunting all over, and I only like
Yeah.
to drive 2 hours in the snow, to chase snow.
Yeah.
Last year, the snow was like 3 hours at the end of the season to get to good snow, and it was just too far for me to go. Like,
In the Adirondacks?
Yeah.
Or? Yeah. Okay. And
Yeah.
you've hunted Maine before?
yep,
Yeah.
once.
Vermont, New Hampshire? You ever went over there?
No, but I
No.
did. So this year I went on a turkey hunt with my buddy. He called it Northeast Turkey Tour.
Nice.
So we
There you
went
go.
and hunted. I did a bunch of scouting in Maine while I was
Oh,
there
cool.
turkey hunting too.
Yeah.
What year did you hunt Maine? Just curious.
I think it was 2021.
How was it?
There wasn't any snow.
Oh,
And I wouldn't go without snow again.
because I went this year and it was. I've been telling people it was probably the best hunting I've ever seen. Not even comparable to the Adirondacks. Like
I agree.
per deer, like just big bucks, lots of them, a lot of people. But it was
Yeah,
like
but most of them don't leave the road.
no, right? I never.
Everybody's just road riding.
I saw one guy in the woods, and oddly enough, it was Morgan. I don't know how to say his last name, but you guys know him, with heavyweight whitetails.
Govia?
Yeah, whatever, however you say that.
Yeah.
So
Seen his name.
Yeah, me and him ran into each other up on top of this little mountain. But hunting Maine was like nothing I've ever experienced. It was just phenomenal. I thought, anyway.
No, I want to go back. I didn't get a good experience because there wasn't any snow.
Yeah, if you go back on snow,
So I
dude,
found
you will be like drooling.
I mean, I
was at least.
I found some big bucks there on bare ground. I did get a couple days of tracking in, but it's just being your first time there. I talk about it all the time. Like the first time you go somewhere, I spent so much of my time. You're kind of scouting.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
You know what I
yeah.
mean? You're just
Oh, yeah.
covering ground and trying to figure out where am I going to go when the snow flies.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you one more thing, Jason. From this is a
I
comment.
mean, I'll just
from-
keep talking. You
Yeah,
have
I
to
could
cut
talk
me
all
off,
day.
you know what I
Believe
mean?
me, we're approaching an hour though, so we just passed an hour, so gotta keep it keep moving along. Glenn Galkowicz, I'm sorry, your name is Polish. Please forgive me. Glenn Galkowicz. He says summer scouting. Do you do any summer scouting?
I do.
It being summer, like what's your typical summer
Not
scouting
till
routine?
well, I say summer scouting, August.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm
out there
I'm going to check trees to see what's got especially I'm going to check the places that I know, like we talked about earlier.
for food.
Yeah, for food, to see if the does are going to be in there. So when the snow flies or whatever's going on,
you know where to go.
Yeah, I go find feed.
Gotcha.
Because it changes every year, like I said, in the Adirondacks. Feed's just the huge thing. If you can get on feed, you're going to go find deer.
Yep.
In water. Water is probably the number one thing.
Yeah, no kidding.
I find tons of deer around water.
Yeah,
me
always.
too.
Nice.
Yeah,
Me
drainage is
Yeah,
best.
yeah, drainages too.
Yep.
Do you shed hunt at all?
Very little.
Yeah.
I didn't go this year at all. I find sheds when I'm hunting all the time, but
Do you run cameras?
not anymore.
Yeah, I don't know.
I used
Why
to.
not? Curious.
Because I spent 4 years of my life chasing this one buck,
Yeah.
but I'd never like settled down to go try to kill one buck like that.
Yeah.
I just wasted a lot of time. I could have been
Yeah.
hunting some other deer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I just quit. I didn't find it really. I mean, it was cool. I learned a lot as far as, when the deer are moving. I went to running video, which is just awesome.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like the video was better than the pictures, so you get like a good idea what's going on. I like running it on funnels. Like as far as like educationally, I think it was awesome.
Yeah.
But I just don't, for going to do what I do right now, I just don't need it.
Yeah.
I don't need cameras. I don't want to be distracted or want to go chase one specific buck. I'll just go find one that's.
Yep.
Nice. Yep. Makes perfect sense. About videoing. When did you start videoing, by the way? And like.
Yeah, and plug your YouTube.
Yeah,
too.
your
What's
YouTube.
what's your YouTube
yeah.
name?
Yeah.
In 2020. It's JB Wild Outdoors.
Yeah.
JB Wild, one word.
It's a great channel, folks. Check it out if you get a chance. But when did you start getting into that? Was that from your experiences with like Lanny, like the filming thing, or like how'd you get into that?
I don't know. I just decided I wanted to. I don't.
Yeah. It's good stuff.
Well,
man.
some
Like,
some
it really
of it is.
Yeah.
Some of it's like, some of it was behind the jealousy of people. They always, you're killing some bucks and they think you're.
I know.
They
Big
think
woods bucks.
No,
we
they
kill a lot
think,
of
no,
bucks.
but I'm saying they think they're. No. I meant like they think you're cheating. You know what I mean? So you start killing some bucks or whatever, and I'm like, I'm not. If I cheated, I would kill monsters.
Yeah.
And they think these are monsters, and I'm like, they're not.
Yeah.
That's where you're wrong. You know what I mean? Like you don't understand. All the monsters have eluded me.
Yeah. Right.
Well, I mean, the 218, I guess you can count him as a monster.
As
you know
a
what I mean?
monster.
But as far as rack goes, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
they all get away.
Right.
You know what I mean?
No, but your content really is. It's like it's what we try to achieve, which is entertaining and educational. I mean, you have a
Yeah, I've gone more to the entertaining thing of it. Just because I'd like people that don't, maybe not even hunters, to watch some of my content. You know what I mean? Or and be able to understand it.
Yeah, sure.
And I didn't realize how many people watch me from not here. I went to Hunt Stock last year. I had people from like Maryland coming to talk to me, tell me they're watching me. I'm like, it's just wild. Like I don't think about that. I just thought it was like local people or
right.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you never know who watches your stuff.
Yeah.
That's something I want to talk about. Is like I really like the content creators. I want to give them all a shout out to go do that.
Sure.
It is a ton of work.
Yep.
We took the job of hunting and made it exponentially harder.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like it is just a lot of work. I've messed up on some deer because of the videoing. Like,
absolutely.
But I keep at it, guys. All the people that are doing it. You know what I mean? They say 60% of the people on the internet are trolls.
That sounds about right.
Yeah. So there's a study on that recently. So like, and
myself included, but yeah.
Oh, great! You're probably.
I'm a fan of yours.
No, I know. I'm just kidding. Yeah, so that's kind of the thing. Like you're putting yourself out there. It's kind of like your artwork, essentially.
Yeah.
And I never knew I had any kind of artistic ability.
Yeah.
This one kind of fits me.
Yeah, I think so.
I think one of the coolest things about the YouTube now and how many people are doing it is how it's gonna last past everybody. Like your family will be able to watch your videos someday.
Agreed, 100%.
When you're gone, you know what I mean?
Agreed, 100%.
I have some videos with my dad in it, and I look at him and I'm like, someday when he's gone, I'll be able to watch those videos.
I think that's the value.
I think that's the biggest part about it.
I mean, think about what we look at is an old picture.
Yep.
Of a black and white pole, and you're like, that's Uncle
that's my
Led.
grandfather that shot that buck, this and that.
I have no pictures of me as a kid because my family was not involved with me.
Yep.
And me and Bob have no pictures. It just wasn't a thing, and I really regret that. I mean, we were feral kids. We didn't have the sort of parents that cared, and I regret it.
Yep.
I regret that.
Yeah, we didn't take pictures like we did.
No.
There's no pictures. I have no old pictures. I wish there was pictures, but we just never didn't take pictures.
Yeah.
We got to carry a camera. It was just one more thing, and who's going to carry a camera?
Right.
So when you were filming for Lanny, were you carrying some massive?
Oh yeah, some massive camera. They gave me a.
It's like
They gave me a
box.
They gave me they gave me like a bag full of batteries and told me to go through and find ones that worked and what didn't work. And I had it for a month and messed with it and had to go through the batteries and sort out the ones that did work and some of them were garbage. But when I went with him, he asked me not to film him. It was funny. He's like,
really?
yeah, because he's like, I already know they told me that. He's like, I don't want to be filmed. I just want to relax and hang out.
Nice.
And
yeah,
I just want to ride around. So, and who's the boss? I'm like, you're the boss. That's right.
I love it.
All right. So yeah. So I mean, that's how that all worked out. And
that's a
stuff.
really cool experience that you had.
No, it is. He was just a great guy. I got nothing but good stuff to say. We had a ton
That's
of fun.
cool.
together.
Everybody says that about
Yeah, I
him.
mean, I think
He's
that's.
awesome.
I mean, I think it's more than the big buck killing stuff. I think it's just his personality
He's
that people
hilarious.
that people are attached to, and he was so over. I mean, at that point, I just think he was over it.
Yeah.
He was more excited to see other people or teach other people to do stuff, or he enjoyed hunting with his family. You know what I mean? His father was still around. I got to spend 2 days with his father, which was super cool.
That is
We
cool.
talked about brook trout fishing, by the way, a bunch of it, which was
We're
cool.
big fans of that here.
Yeah. So, and yeah, but the hunting culture is really what it's all about. Like at the end of the day, I don't know, like you remember the bucks you killed, I guess, but like not as much as you remember the time of the people that you were there with, or
Totally.
or whatever. Like it's something that's, I don't know if it's even talked about enough. Like it's such a thing about just killing bucks or whatever. There's like, I mean, if I go all day and I don't kill a buck, I still had a great time.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got to go see some new country. Like what's over the next hill?
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like I don't.
Right.
Yeah.
There's just so much more to it than just killing an animal.
As
Have you
Rodney
seen-
Elmer says, yeah.
Have you seen the hunting culture change since you started hunting with like social media, YouTube?
Yeah, everything's
all that?
everything's 100% different.
That's what I.
I mean,
thought.
when I went to high school, people had guns in everybody that had a truck had a gun in their back
Yeah,
window.
I did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I missed like 26 days of school my senior year or something like that. Because it was like all in November.
Yeah. Right.
I still graduated though. I made the rest of the year.
Nice.
And nobody cared.
No,
Yeah,
no.
it was just.
No, I had a good.
accepted.
I could sign the same signature my dad had, so it was perfect. I just wrote myself a note like, Jason's super sick. He's got the allergies things again or whatever. It'd be a nice afternoon. It'd be like, Jason has a dentist appointment today.
Nice. Right.
Yeah, no, it's just changed a ton. Like, but there's no quality. You didn't know anything about quality deer management or anything. You just went out and shot. All right, it's got 3-inch spike. I'll shoot it.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
I mean, you did get above that because you're like, I don't want to shoot spike. I want to shoot crotch horner. Really, you're just killing a 1.5-year-old deer. Doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so it's changed a lot from that, and I think that's why we're seeing. I do think it's good because we are seeing better quality deer.
Yeah. Yeah.
We are.
I think so.
No, I think we are. I think there's bigger racks now because people are more conscious
Selective.
of it.
I think
there's more
the
conscious.
data's.
Yeah, they're at least not
proves that
shooting.
up,
They're
yeah.
not at least not shooting 1.5-year-olds. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the DEC's published statistics where it's like, the take of 3.5 has gone up from like 10% to 35% in the last 10
Yeah,
years.
but we just
It's
didn't
pretty
know.
cool.
Like you just didn't know. Like there wasn't all that information out. There's so much
Right.
information though.
Yeah.
Like, you see all the gimmicks and all the stuff, and
Mhm.
hunting's just turned into this industry of you have to own this or you can't kill a deer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's so fake.
Except
It is
except
so
the Big Woods
awful,
Bucks
like,
fanny pack.
I couldn't get on I couldn't get on the whole, like, remember the scent lock stuff?
Yeah.
I couldn't get on
Yeah.
board with it, dude. It was like too much. I was like, what? This is like ridiculous. Like, I don't even understand.
I wore a pair of that. I've had it for, I don't know, 15 years. I wore a pair of it last year still hunting. And I realized this is like a suit that you wear for cutting weight. Because it's so sticky inside. And I'm like, well, no shit, it cuts down on scent because you're dying. You're going to fucking die in the Adirondack wearing this.
Yeah,
I
you're
lost like 5 pounds
You need a
that day,
cadaver
like,
dog to find
sweating.
you.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. When you're bow hunting, it's a huge thing. To have clean clothes or keep them
Yeah,
Absolutely.
as set
Of
free as you
course,
can.
of course.
You know what I mean? But like the way we hunt the Adirondacks, there's no way they're not going to smell. We're all sweated up and
And the wind's like,
yeah, from every
Like,
direction.
like,
Yeah, like I don't know. I just like the purity of the Northeast hunting. I'm just going to call it
Yeah.
Northeast. It's not just the Adirondacks.
That's
I
right.
think that's
I
it.
do want to go. I was saying that I went turkey hunting, but I ended up getting a buck tag for Vermont and Maine this year when I bought my turkey tag. So I'm all set to go. So
Yeah.
if anybody wants to go chase some snow,
Let's link up. For
Yeah.
real. We'll keep in touch. We'll link
yeah,
up.
if you want to chase
Let's
some
do it.
snow, I'm down.
Let's chase some
Yeah.
snow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll
Okay.
do
We
it.
say that now, and then jump cut to November. We're like, I got to work.
Yeah, pretty much.
You might say that. I will have the day off.
Yeah,
I did take a day off Well, I didn't take a day off. I got up and drove in the morning because I thought I was going to go find snow. I got a picture in the afternoon of like 4 inches.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. Somebody at the
Nice.
Adirondacks.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
I'm going in the morning. I get there, it rained all night, and all the snow was gone.
Yeah, that's been.
I
I ended up
that's
showing
been
up at work
the
at
last few
8:30, but I
years.
got up at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
It was awful. I was so upset.
Yeah.
I thought I was going to go hunting. And then,
Like every snowfall last year was like you had about 4 hours to get it done. And
well, like it came, and then it was so crusty. And we had that crust, and it just never went away. And
Yeah.
like I said, you had to drive farther than 2 hours to get to it, and 2 hours is my max. So I think I had 3 days tracking last year.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's about right for here. That's about all you got. Yeah.
And I had one day I was on a buck, and he saw me coming uphill, and then
That was that.
that'll be out
Wow.
on my YouTube channel. I'm working on that one.
Nice.
Perfect.
Good stuff.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah,
Jason.
man, I appreciate it.
yeah.
Like, I'm honestly
Yeah.
honored to be on your channel.
Dude, yeah.
That anybody
It's
cares
an honor for
that
us,
I have
believe me.
anything that cares that I have anything to say that's good. I don't know.
No, we're
great.
fans, man.
It was
Believe
great.
me.
I appreciate
Believe me.
that. Appreciate it. I don't take compliments well, so right now I'm trying to deflect that.
Yeah, no. Believe me, we're just as much fans. It's weird. It's weird for us
I appreciate
hearing that
that.
people actually watch our YouTube video. I mean, the numbers show people are watching, but then I meet people watching,
that's
and I'm
what
like,
I'm
oh my god, like I'm so flattered. You
All the
know?
people that like
seriously,
it,
I'm like,
all
oh
the people
man.
that like it never say anything.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's
Right,
just the
right.
people that are negative, like,
Yeah.
oh, you suck.
No,
You know,
it's-
like,
it-
You killed deer.
Look, I actually delete the haters right away when they come on YouTube because
Yeah,
our guys work too hard to have people just like
Rag on
shit
'em.
talking them
Yep.
on the
Yeah,
internet.
like,
So I just delete it right away.
yeah,
I'm like, they
like,
don't got to see that. I don't want to see it.
and how terrible is that for the people that are just coming up and
Yeah.
want to be learning to hunt and do whatever?
Oh,
and
it's
somebody
just
on there
it's
telling you, like,
negativity. Yeah.
yeah, he told me like
Yeah. No,
somebody's
we don't need
unhappy about them shooting a crotch. Shoot whatever
Yeah.
you want. Whatever's legal. If it's
Exactly.
legal, if you want to change it, then you
Yeah.
better make a law. Like, I don't know.
That's what it is. And I kind of like, if it's a legitimate criticism about something we did, I'll let it stand. But if it's just pure shit talking, I just take it down. So I recommend you do the same.
Listen, I do some swearing on my channel, so just know that ahead
I
of
do
time.
too. I'll
Yeah,
just
we-
gonna have to
we
get
all
it
do.
out.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't
Adirondack
follow
podcast is a little bit less.
I don't follow mainstream
clean
media.
cut.
That's one thing
Yeah.
I want to say about YouTube. I know we're still going here. You try to cut me off, but
No, not at all.
but that was so the first video I ever posted on YouTube. The buddy wounds this buck, and I walk up and shoot him at like 20 yards of the muzzle or blow him over.
Yeah.
And I was like, "There's no way they're gonna let this stay on here." And then it did, and I was like, "All right, I'm in." Because that's like real hunting. Like that's
Yes,
like real shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like
Yes.
I was so sick of all this like. Oh, it comes out perfectly broadside in the field, and you're in there with a heater on.
Sanitized.
We have to deal with that all the time.
And they use the like, oh, you can only use the word harvest. I'm like, nah, I killed that.
That's
You know what I
right.
mean? I killed him, and then I ate him.
You get
Mark's short. People were like, you shot what 5 times? You unloaded your
Yeah,
lever,
Yep.
and people are like, how did you know? Well, there could have been somebody downrange of there. How did you just flinging shot? And
The
it's just like, you
craziest
don't
comments you
understand.
could
Like
ever
this
think
is
of.
northern Maine. There's nobody for 10 miles.
And
like,
let's say, my son said this, he was hilarious. He's like, let's say that there was some other hunter on the other side of that valley. The bullets are flinging by him, right? Let's just say in the randomness of God's country.
totally remote possibility, but yeah.
You have a better
Imagine
chance
it,
of getting
right.
struck by lightning twice, right?
Right.
Statistically, whatever. But let's say the first thing that dude would do is crawl through the thick that I was just shooting through at the buck and say, "Did you get him?" It was awesome, you know, because northeastern hunters, they get it. They get it.
No, it's the weirdest thing.
If
just
you
don't get
haven't
it.
been
Yeah.
here, you don't know.
They just don't understand.
Well, they don't understand
They
the
don't. And
I
vastness
see-
of it, and they
yeah,
don't
I s-
understand shooting at running game, which
Yeah.
is a staple for hundreds of years.
It's just even with a bow. I'm
That's right.
hunting, in
How
my
many
farm
thousands
country
of
spot.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Tracking's the first sport.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm
Ever.
hunting my
Mankind.
farm country spot, and I'm like, Kevin, I had a good shot at him, but then he turned, and Kevin's like, shoot him in the spine with the bow next time.
Yeah, because that big buck, he called me. He's like, the big buck just ran right underneath me, and I'm like, he's like, I could have shot it straight
like,
down.
you
I'm like,
shoot him in the
why
spine
did you
next
not
time?
Shoot it straight down. Like I would have
Like,
sent
it
one
goes
right through
against
the
everything
center
I've
of
been
the
taught.
thing.
You
But
can't put that on the video, but yeah.
yeah.
Good times.
All right.
All right, Jason, thank you so much for coming out.
Yeah,
man.
thank
we
you.
really
This was
appreciate it.
great.
Yeah, and
Welcome.
this certainly won't be the last.
This
We've
is
had a
awesome.
great time. So,
That's awesome. Thank you.
yeah. All right. Thank you so much, folks. We'll see you next time on the Adirondack Hunt Podcast.
Take care.
Thanks for tuning in to the Adirondack Hunt Podcast. You can find more episodes at bigwoodsbucks.com. Check out bigwoodsbucks.com for the latest gear, including our famous American-made wool hunting jackets, wool hunting fanny packs, and wool hunting pants, along with books, tracking guides, and logo wear. See you next time.